We're back. Only this time is the first time. Black and
Yeah,
white sports. Rhodes Ranch. John Matrix. How are you today, John?
I am doing well. This is our first time going live on this channel. We're always live on our regular channels, so we'll see how this kind of goes.
Yeah. Well, technically, I guess really we're recording this as more of like a podcast with video.
Right.
And then, because in fact, I'm going to pull the audio off of this and I'm going to upload it to a podcast too.
Okay.
So it'll be our first black and white podcast as well. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
Anyway, we're going to do, in light of the fact that the NFL preseason has started, it is in full swing. And Mr. Matrix is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
That I am.
And I am a diehard 49er fan. Got my gear out. Look, we know it's preseason. It doesn't matter. Let's go.
Yeah, I should guess I should have worn my Cowboys jersey instead of my Astro shirt. So
it'll be the battle of who's your backup quarterback, Connor Rush. Isn't that the guy's name?
put it like this: if the backup quarterback shows up, we're in trouble.
Well, I mean, it's a preseason game, so he's going to get to play the majority of the game.
Yeah.
So it'll be your backup quarterback versus mine, CJ Beathard, who, by the way, ain't too bad. And Nick Mullins sure ain't too bad.
Yeah.
He won 2 games for us last year. So
I think you watch a lot more preseason than I do.
Yeah.
I don't take the preseason too seriously.
I do for certain things. How do they do against first string defenses? What's our backup quarterback look like?
But usually in the preseason games, they're not showing, the defense isn't showing their real packages. It's usually simplified.
Some of these rookie quarterbacks can be exposed. I mean, I remember seeing quarterbacks that you could blatantly tell this isn't going to go well. Blaine Gabbert, you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his first preseason action, I was like, that quick, I knew Jacksonville messed up. I was like, yikes. This guy can't play. This guy can't play dead.
No.
Oddly enough, he's turned out to be a pretty good NFL backup. Have you noticed that?
You know what? I can be an NFL backup. You know why? Because backups don't usually play.
He's played. He's actually played.
Yeah, I know.
And been a competent backup, which I thought Blaine Gabbert would be out of the league by now. I really did.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I didn't know he was still in the league.
Oh, yeah. He actually won, I think, 2 games for Tennessee last year, believe it or not, as their quarterback.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Pretty wild,
Yeah. Speaking of, I need to get my Sunday ticket ready for the season. I need to call DirecTV because I think they're going to have a special on Sunday ticket.
Is that what you usually get? I just get NFL Red Zone.
I get Sunday ticket.
I almost like, I've got to have that, like, now that I've experienced it, and I've had it for ever since the very first year came out, that continuous, man, there's about an hour period at the end of the first round of games where it's just like, whoa, you are bouncing from game to game to game.
Yeah. Well, you know what the advantage of Sunday ticket is, and I'm probably going to use this more this year. You can watch, I think, either 4 or 8 games all at once on your screen. So I know I tried 4, so I may actually do that now since we actually have this channel. Because usually I just do the flipping channels back and forth between them, but I may actually watch all 4 at one time now.
Red Zone will do, especially in that last hour. They'll go anywhere from quad box up to 8 boxes, depending on what all's going on.
Yeah.
They zero in on the 1-score games. And then it's like they just back and forth in between every play of all those games. It's really, it's kind of football, just football in a way you didn't expect. You wanted to experience it, but you realize, hey, no commercials. I mean, this is nice, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there are a ton of commercials in NFL games now, you know.
Yeah, they are. But you know what? The commercials when I'm watching the NFL, it doesn't bother me because when I'm watching football, I'm like glued to that TV from like noon to like 9 o'clock at night.
Me
So
too.
you need those commercial breaks, you know, to go to the bathroom, get something to eat, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, you just got to. So I don't mind the commercials.
I was over on our regular channels, our other channels.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get videos done in between the end of Red Zone and the beginning of NBC primetime. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
that hour and a half there window. I was like,
Yeah.
because I'm not making videos during NFL.
Yeah. I don't think I would think I'm gonna have to wake up early on Sunday mornings and make videos to my channel because after that,
I'm out of there. Yeah.
I'm out of there. Yeah. So I won't be definitely won't be doing much regular content.
And in fact, we're talking about we're going to do some sort of a live stream pregame, aren't we? On this channel?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, maybe something like, I don't know. What do you think? Like 10 in the morning to like 10 to 11?
Yeah,
Something like that.
10 a.m. Central, and just get on here long enough to, you know, talk any massive injuries and probably just give our picks, I would guess, for the games.
Yeah.
You know, so all the way through. I mean, I assume we'll just go ahead and give our Monday night pick too, you know.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
I'm not on a fantasy football team at this time. So
Yeah. Me neither. I don't really play fantasy. I just like to pick 'em.
I used to be, I'd be in like 7 leagues.
I never
And
could get into it. Never
I
could get
just,
into it.
that was more corporate world in the office. Bunch of guys get together. You know, we'd all throw $50 a piece in, and then it got real interesting real fast.
Yeah.
You know, so and I think we did top 2 won money. You know, I finished 2 one year, and I think it was like $400. So it's worth playing. So,
Yeah.
all right, our first subject line on our first podcast is top 5 NFL MVP candidates,
Yes, sir.
including our winners, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to do this. I know we do top list on the other channel.
Yeah.
Do we want to alternate these this time?
Like I say my number 5, you say your number 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that'd be
yeah, we
good
can do
because
that.
the number 1 is obviously who we think is going to win.
Right. And
So,
mine's probably going to surprise you.
yeah. I don't feel too confident about my number 1, but
I don't either. A lot of it's got to do with injuries.
because the NFL, you just never know. I mean, there's pretty much only one player in the NFL that you can guarantee something. But when it comes to these MVPs, nothing is guaranteed.
How about you go first? Since I'm hosting, we'll let the visiting team get the ball first.
Okay. All right. At number 5, this is the guy that I think a lot of people think is the best player in the NFL, but I think he's handicapped by his position because he's a defensive guy. And my number 5 is Aaron Donald.
Wow. Okay.
Aaron Donald. This guy is a beast. But when was the last time a defensive player won MVP? Probably Lawrence Taylor is what I'm thinking. I don't even think Ray Lewis. Did Ray Lewis win MVP with the 2000 Ravens?
No, I
No,
don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just so tough, man. It's so tough for a defensive player to win MVP, but they are normally in the top 5. So,
who's the last one to do it? Is it Charles Woodson? Did he win it one year?
I think no, he won Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I was thinking Charles might have won it because he scored some touchdowns on defense and probably ran some touchdowns back on either punt return or kick return, but I can't even remember. I can't remember the last defensive MVP. If that
it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So JJ Watt got really close. I think he finished number 2 one year.
Yeah. Yeah, and he definitely won Defensive Player of the Year that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. Who's your number 5?
I'll probably make a video and do. I'll do another one that's probably offensive. You know how we got Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I'll probably do one of those.
Okay.
I'm doing Rookie of the Year and Comeback Player of the Year later today, and it'll go on this channel too. So
okay. Cool.
My number 5 is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a homer pick.
That it is a homer pick. I think he's going to have a monster year with Kyle Shanahan. And I've got 3 of these on here.
He got to stay healthy.
He stays healthy. I think he's going to throw about 38 touchdowns, have about 7 picks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That guy's made of plastic, man.
I'm worried about him. I'm worried about 3 players on my list right now because they're sort of like could be MVP or could miss 10 games, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I think what I will say about Kyle Shanahan's offense, he has made 2 quarterbacks in Beathard and Mullins look like capable, at least backup NFL quarterbacks and good ones when they shouldn't be doing anything, with anybody.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5, Jimmy G.
Okay. All right. My number 4, I'm going with last year's MVP, Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going with him at number 4 is because, man, it is so hard to repeat as MVP. It almost never happens. I think Peyton Manning did it once, if I'm not mistaken. Brett Favre, I don't know how. Brett Favre won 3 straight MVPs in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Tom Brady never won back-to-back MVPs. He has 3. Joe Montana never won back-to-back MVPs. He has 2. So it's just so hard, and he's not going to throw 50 touchdowns this year. I'm thinking Pat Mahomes is probably going to be somewhere around, I'll say 33 and 33 touchdowns and about 10 picks, I would say.
That's quite the drop off, actually. 17 touchdowns. It's a great.
No. I said 33.
33. He had 50.
He had 50.
Yeah. So 17 off his total.
Yes, but think of it. When Peyton Manning threw 49 the first time, what did he have the next season?
Not many, but he was starting to show age big time.
Well, no, I'm talking about the first time, like 2004, he threw 49.
Which was the record. Well, there's another thing to that too, and we'll probably talk a little bit more, Patrick, even as I go down my list. But they will start figuring him out more to a point, defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're going to change stuff up. And I think that's the main reason why he's going to fall off. Now, I do wonder, like when Tom Brady threw 50, I think he had a really good shot of throwing like 45 the next year, but he blew out his knee because they brought the same team. So it just doesn't happen. So that's my number 4, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we got robbed with that because of ended up, no Randy Moss. He ended up being let go,
Yeah.
So my number 4 is going to be, and this might be a little bit of a surprise, I think he's about to have a Marshall Faulk-like season. Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
I think he's about to have 1,500 yards and about 1,000 yards receiving. He's going to have about 2,500 to 3,000 scrimmage yards.
Okay.
And 12 to 15 touchdowns.
So you're not on the Saquon Barkley bandwagon because, man, ESPN thinks that guy's going to be. They think he's better than Zeke already, which is kind of.
I'm going to tell you why. In Norv Turner's offense, he's going to keep dumping that ball to the running back in the passing game, and McCaffrey. I was watching something the other day, and they were saying that he may have as many as 15 receiving targets a game. Okay.
Wow.
So,
oh my God, that's a lot for a running back. Man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, I have concerns about him long term with that many touches. but at least for his first 3 or 4 years, he could have some Le'Veon Bell. You know, I kind of thought Le'Veon during that massive season should have had a little bit more MVP consideration. And Carolina's got a better quarterback situation than the Giants. That would be my other reason for not choosing Barkley, I guess.
Well, if he gets 1,000 yards receiving, he would definitely be up there because Marshall Faulk, he was the only 1,000-yard receiving running back that I can think of that actually won MVP.
Yeah, yeah, and it hadn't been done much 1,000 yards receiving for a running back.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Okay, my number 3. I'm going to go with a guy that seems to get overshadowed by Aaron Donald a little bit, but this guy was an absolute beast before he got injured. He came back last year. I think he was comeback player of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And this guy was a monster. I'm going with JJ Watt at number 3.
Wow.
JJ Watt had 17 sacks, I think, last year, coming off an injury. And he's going to be even better this year, I think, because this guy was a machine before he got hurt. I mean, the guy was actually catching touchdown passes at tight end in the red zone for the Texans.
Yeah.
Now, JJ Watt is a monster. I actually think he's better than Aaron Donald when he's healthy, because I think he's done it longer than Aaron Donald. I mean, JJ Watt had about 3 dominant years. Aaron Donald has 1 so far.
Right. So, and I think a lot of this list has to do with health.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, for sure. Yeah, JJ's a beast, and he may have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because I don't know if you've noticed lately, people aren't talking about him the way they were.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I know it's been
Aaron Donald. That's all you hear.
That's all they talk about. But JJ Watt was an absolute monster. I mean, I never saw anything like him in such a long time.
I haven't done my AFC South picks yet. The Texans is a tough one for me to figure out because you've got Watt and then you've got Watson on that team quarterbacking. And I just can't quite put a finger on where he belongs as a quarterback. And, but I think he's good. I do.
Yeah.
They could be a sneaky AFC out of the AFC pick.
Yeah. And I'll say this about JJ Watt. Tom Brady is the best football player ever to me. JJ Watt is my favorite player to watch. And maybe because I'm also in Houston, so I get to see him a lot more. And I'm not even a Texans fan, but the guy does so much. He does so much for the community.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he showed up during Harvey. Yeah.
So much, man. That guy should always win. What do they have at NFL?
Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Yeah, Man of the Year, man. He should get that almost every year if you ask me.
He did phenomenal work for Hurricane Harvey. Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Okay. And that was that your number 4 or 3?
That was my number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Good call.
And I'm like you. I think he experiences somewhat of a fall off. Not going to call it a sophomore slump. I mean, if you're top 3 MVP, you've had a pretty good season.
Yeah, and you can't top that season, man.
I don't think so, even though I've heard some analysts say they think he'll throw 60 touchdowns this year.
He's playing for the right coach, though, to throw like that again.
I just think there's a certain amount of, and we've seen this a lot, when new quarterbacks come in, they burn the league up, and then that second season, defensive coordinators have caught up to them just a little bit. That happened with, people forget how phenomenally good Kaepernick was that first season. He made Green Bay's defense look like idiots out there during the playoffs.
Yeah.
And by the 3 games into the next season, every team had caught up to him already. They game planned for him.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see that a little, and you've seen that with multiple quarterbacks over the years. That said, I'm not quite to the 33 touchdown level on him. I'm about 38.
Okay.
38 TDs. I think he could have upwards of maybe say 10 picks though, 10, 12
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah,
I
that's up
remember
at 10
I
picks.
remember when that was phenomenal, but now they kind of frown on 12 picks.
Yeah, 12 picks is not a lot.
No, it's not. I
It's
mean,
really not a lot. But I guess in today's NFL, it's kind of getting to. I think the average quarterback probably throws what 14 picks. I would say probably a little bit less.
yeah. I mean,
I mean,
even
the
look at
only
how awful Eli Manning was supposed to have been last year. He only threw 11 picks.
no, he threw more than that. I think he threw
No, he threw 20.
12.
I saw his stats the other day.
Oh, you did?
21 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Yeah, and believe me, he didn't have a good season last year. I mean, the league is just changing now to where he had a 92 quarterback rating. That's not good today. It's really not.
And I remember when that was phenomenal.
Joe Montana's career QB rating was 92.
Yeah.
That was the record. In 1979, when Roger Staubach retired, he had a 84 quarterback rating. That was the record. So it's always changing. So when people make a big deal about Aaron Rodgers 103, okay, that's not, it says the highest rating of all time. But if you really look at Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers QB ratings since Rodgers started in 08, they're really about the same. I think Rodgers is a tick higher, but not by much.
Rodgers is more mobile.
Yes.
One of my issues, and I mean, it makes him fun to watch, but one of my issues with Rodgers is he doesn't play as well within the confines of the system. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah, he deviates a lot.
I mean, there were people that broke down tape on him, and Greg Cosell is a great guy that analyzes tape and breaks it down for NFL films. And he says Aaron leaves a ton of open receivers on the field because he wants to do all that bootleg stuff instead of doing 3-2-1, throw it,
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. I just think Mahomes is going to kind of take a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
You're up.
And we're on number 2 now. My number 2 is an old favorite. He's an old favorite. He is the greatest ever. I'm going with number 12 in New England, Tom Brady, at number 2.
Wow.
The man is 42 years old, and his impact on a team cannot be underestimated. This guy keeps it going hardcore. When was the last time Tom Brady was out of the top 5 of MVPs? I can't think of it. He's always been in the top 5. And I don't think he's going to fall off this year. He was voted the 6th best player in the NFL by his peers, but that system can, take it with a grain of salt on that. But I think he's going to be pretty good this year. The reason why I don't think he's going to win is because he's Tom Brady. His expectation levels are so much higher than everyone else. If you look at his seasons where he actually won the MVP, those seasons were just historic. If you look at Peyton Manning was able to win MVPs and he wasn't historic. Tom Brady 07, 50 touchdowns, 8 picks. That was insane. Then he came back in 2011 he won, and he went 39 touchdowns and it was 39 and 4. It was something ridiculous, man. His QB rating was like 112. It was insane. And he won his last MVP when what's the guy's name? He won it a couple of years ago, and he was really, really good that season. He could have won the year that Matt Ryan had won.
Yeah.
Because he went 28-2 in 12 games. He was insanely good. But I think the bar is just so high for him. I think he's going to probably dial it back a little bit in the regular season. And There is kind of a question about who he's going to be throwing the ball to a little bit, but that's kind of a question every year. So
I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple of one. Number one, I want to clarify: Tom Brady's the greatest player to ever play the game, I believe.
no doubt, no doubt.
Okay, and he's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. The reason he's not in my top, even my top 5, is because, and you saw a little bit of this transition last year. Belichick is turning that team into a running football team. Okay.
Yep.
And the last 4 to 5 games of last year, and even parts of the playoffs, Tom Brady started to look older. He did.
Somewhat.
He did. His statistics fell considerably the last 5 games of the year. And I'm not saying Father Time's just going to reach out and slap him, because I think Belichick's going to work a system around Tom's aging. But I don't think you're going to see 35 or 38 touchdowns out of Tom.
I think he's going to get I think he's going to be about 30. I would say 30 and 8 picks. I think he's going to be somewhere around there.
I think he's going to be somewhere like 26 TDs, 4 picks. And that's going to be good enough to win.
That's still really good. 4 picks is really low.
It's really low, but he's got that running back, Sony Michel.
Yeah.
They're going to give him the workload.
Yeah. And I think part of the problem last year was he had Edelman, Gronk was hurt, and Gronk really wasn't the same anymore. You know, I mean, quarterbacks are helped by Gronk is gone now. Yeah. So, but we don't really know who he's throwing the ball to outside of Edelman. But every year we say that too. So, but he's number 2 on my list.
I would have loved to have seen Antonio Brown end up in New England.
Oh God.
Yeah. You know, so
I don't know if he would have made it through the season though.
Because as long as we're on a side note to that, I think Derek Carr is going to have a good season.
He needs to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people don't realize he had a pretty good year last year, and a lot like under the radar. It just wasn't like that year he had 3 years ago, I think, was really good.
Yeah, he was really good.
But he had a pretty good season last year. But with Brown, and they got Terrell Williams, who had played for San Diego at wide receiver, I think Derek Carr has a pretty good bounce back year. I think he throws 30 touchdowns this year. I do.
Okay.
So that was your number 2, right?
That was my number 2. Yeah.
Okay. My number 2 is Carson Wentz. And it was close between 2 and 1 for me.
I just don't trust his health, man.
2 weeks ago, he would have been my number 1, but I kind of eased off of it. And the sad part is, really and truly, my number 1 and number 2 are both hinged on health.
I think we have probably the same number 1, man.
Okay. And I think I'm number 1, and this is why I didn't pick Dallas to win that division, because I think Philly's going to win 12 to 13 to 14 games in that division, and it's going to get ugly. Yeah. If Wentz stays healthy, because I think they got overall the better team, offense, defense. I think Wentz is going to do something in the neighborhood of about 40 touchdowns, about 7 picks.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's going to have a completion percentage about 70%.
Man, I don't see that, man. That's a lot, man.
I do. Because he got some Doug Peterson drafted some new running backs in there that are going to catch the football, and I think he's going to start doing some dump offs, and he stays with the tight end, and they got Deshaun Jackson back, and he's going to stretch the field in a way that Wentz hasn't had yet, and then Alshon Jeffrey's still there, so that team is loaded on offense.
Something is telling me though, man, he's going to miss 4 games. Something is just telling me that.
He's
So
going to win.
that's
Hey, he's going to miss 4 games, and they're still going to win the division.
where we're talking strictly MVP, man. You can't win
Yeah,
MVP missing
yeah.
4 games.
You're
I mean,
right. You're
if that
right.
was the case, Tom Brady would have won a few years ago
He
over Matt Ryan.
he is to a lesser extent a little bit like Jimmy G. Now Jimmy G needs a full season, but Carson's looking a little ugly on the injury bug for the last few years. He needs
Yeah,
to play a full year.
yeah, definitely.
So, but I think
Yeah,
that dude's a hoss. I did, even when they drafted him, I was like, this guy is the real deal.
yeah.
You know. So, all right, man, here we go.
Okay, and I think we have the same number one. I'm going to go with this guy. He's been hyped up for a while, and I actually think his team is probably going to win the division. But my concern about this guy is his health, and he's already injured in the preseason. I already had this list done. I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck at number one. I don't know why. I don't feel confident now. The guy has already pulled his hamstring, and we're not even into week one of the season. I don't know why, but this guy has an elite offensive line. And I think if you give this guy time, he can do some damage. And one of the other reasons why I kind of picked him over Tom Brady is I think that people are kind of tired of Tom Brady. And you know the media is. All you got to do is look at for ESPN and Shannon Sharp. But they like these shiny new toys. And Andrew Luck will be the shiny new toy this year if he stays healthy.
And
That's the
and
key.
there's a section of the media base that loves Andrew.
Oh yeah, they do.
Colin Cowherd, that's his white knight, He loves Andrew Luck, he always has.
He does. He's more of a Brady guy though, but he loves Andrew
to
Luck.
just throw it out there, Andrew Luck is my number one too.
I knew we had to say number one. But you're not feeling that confident, are you, like me?
No, I'm not, because of the health. That's my concern. The other day when they said actually it's his calf.
Oh, okay. I thought it was his hamstring.
And it's getting weird again because it's been injured for 6 months now.
What?
Yeah. And he's had 3 MRIs.
Oh, God.
They can't figure out what's going on. And he was interviewed the other day by I think it was Peter King. And I didn't like his demeanor. Honestly, how he's always been a gung ho, all shucks, rah rah, we're going to get them.
Yeah,
his demeanor felt like somebody that liked being injured. Oof. And it bothered me.
See, I wish I would have known about that. I probably wouldn't even have put him in my top 5.
I went through with it because I've been sort of on that train in my head for about.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a few weeks now. But honestly, I haven't really kept up with the injuries, and we're not even we're a month away from the season, so
and I don't know what's happened with him because he seemed like one of those killer instinct. I want the ball. I want to play. Let's go get them. Team first. And it felt dirty, like the guy that is the star wide receiver that's not as hurt as he lets on. Yeah. That has had some good seasons, but is kind of thinking about, I don't know what his deal is. I couldn't believe during the interview, I was like, yikes, this guy kind of acts like he's doesn't want to play. Just doesn't want to play. Yeah. It kind of bothered me a lot. Yeah. I didn't expect it out of Andrew Luck at all. In a draft of people that I wouldn't think would act that way, he would be in my top 3. Yeah. And it was just really shocking. Like maybe he's gotten content with not playing.
Yeah. And just for point of reference for everybody listening, we did not discuss our top 5 MVP candidates beforehand.
Not at all. No, we had no idea. No. I'm actually surprised Andrew Luck was your number 1.
Who do
I
you think
thought
I was going to choose?
I thought I was going to throw a curveball out. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
um, I don't know who I would have thought would have been. I thought Andrew would have been in your top 5, just not your number 1. And I wouldn't have thought Tom Brady would have been that high either. To be honest with you, because
I can never bet against the guy, man. He is so consistent.
I won't bet against him to win it.
Yes.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But the MVP, I don't think he can throw up the statistics anymore needed to win the MVP because there's too much flash going on. Like, let's say Andrew plays the full season. I think he could throw 45 touchdowns. I don't think Tom Brady's throwing 45 touchdowns.
No, he's not going to throw 45.
And I don't know if you noticed, we both Aaron Rodgers is nowhere to be found on our list.
Let's be honest about Aaron Rodgers. The media keeps making excuses for this guy. But have you looked at him the last 3 seasons? He hasn't been that good by his standards. I mean, his QB rating kept dropping. His completion percentage, his accuracy is nowhere near what it used to be. And he played every single game last year. And guess what? They didn't win one single road game. I'm going to say that again. They didn't win one single road game. 0-8 on the road.
And the excuse for the longest time was, well, the Packers didn't win the division because Aaron was hurt. Well, he played.
He played every single game.
And what I noticed was a quarterback that could not elevate the rest of his teammates.
No. But, of course, you're going to have, your Shannon Sharps, your Stephen A. Smiths, Rob Parker, who is an absolute moron. They're going to continue to make excuses for him, no
Rob
matter
Parker's
what.
A tool.
Because they've already
What is
said
up with that guy?
said this. They've already said this before. They said, "Well, who is he going to throw it to? Who's he going to throw it to?" We say that about Tom Brady almost every single year of his career. Never had a big time receiver.
There's not been. Who's he going to throw it to? He's had Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
I got 49er quarterbacks throwing to Marquise Goodwin, okay? As the number 1 wideout on that team.
Yeah, and that's already noise that Aaron Rodgers is kind of, having a little bit of beef with his new coach. I mean, I don't think Aaron Rodgers does not want to be coached, I think. And I think that's a problem.
He thinks he's smarter than all the other people in the league. I can tell you that.
He may be smarter. He may be smarter than his coach. But a coach is a coach. They put in the system that you run, and you have to do it. And last year he had a record for the amount of throwaways he did because this guy wants to improvise everything and keep his interceptions really, really low. I mean, if you look on the surface, he had 2 picks. But if you watch the games, he wasn't that good last year.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about throwing the ball away. When McCarthy was still coach, they said that the call would come in and he'd roll his eyes in the huddle like, oh, God, this guy can't call plays.
Yeah.
He's already doing it with LaFleur up there in Green Bay right now.
Haven't even played a game yet.
Hadn't played a game yet. Yeah. Already doing it.
Yep. And his skills are eroding. He's 35? I think he's going to be 36. I don't see him playing the 40.
And here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, if you're playing in the NFC North, you ought to win that division every year you're healthy. There it is. I'm sorry. Because you got Mitchell Trubisky and Kirk Cousins as your competition. Matthew Stafford, sorta. You should win that division. And no, and we talk about, you said a minute ago, quarterbacks sort of coaching their own offense. Peyton Manning was successful at doing that, but he knew how to deliver it with an offensive coordinator that made everybody on the team come out looking good.
Yep, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Yep.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers wants to do you don't know what you're talking about. I'm the king honcho.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is in the excuse business.
Yeah.
And I think if he misses the playoffs this year, man, it has to hurt his legacy. It has.
Can I just call it then? If we're gonna go here, overrated.
Oh yeah, he's been overrated
Overrated.
because the media gives him a pass every single time. Every single
Media
time.
loves him.
I don't know why
He's
they're
number
so in
one
love
ahead
with
of
him.
Brady on so many analysts
It's
and all these
it's
lists.
absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, if you threw Tom Brady on that Packers team last year, you think they're going 0-8 on the road?
No.
No, they're not. Tom Brady
No.
is a light years better leader. Aaron Rodgers is a poor leader. I think that's his biggest flaw. The guy has no leadership skills, and his former teammates have been calling him out on that. Have you noticed that? Like the last couple of years, people that used to play with him,
They're killing him.
they're killing him.
Greg Jennings has murdered Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? Greg Jennings was a damn fine wide receiver in the NFL.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So and he was a weapon. Him and what was the dude's name that ended up going to the Raiders last year? And was on his team all these years, his best buddy. And God dog, just retired. And will go in the Packer Ring of Honor eventually one day.
I know he's talking about.
Had receivers over the years, so
yeah, he has.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, he gets a sympathy vote, I think, for only winning one Super Bowl. But people have to realize something: winning one Super Bowl, that's a huge accomplishment, man. I mean, I think people have been spoiled by Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the only person with 6 Super Bowls. Charles Haley has 5. But when it comes to quarterbacks, think of this. In the modern era post-free agency, I mean salary cap, who has more than one? You have to start with the Cowboys. Troy Aikman has 3 Super Bowls. Roethlisberger has 2.
Yep.
Steve Young has 1.
Yep.
I'm talking about outside of Brady.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning has 2, even though he was horrible. He was washed up in that last.
He's got 1.5, sort of.
Yeah. Eli has 2, but that's a different kind of thing because he was never an elite quarterback.
No.
But look, if you win in 1, that's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Aaron Rodgers is great. Okay,
yes,
we shouldn't act like he's not a I'm going to say a top 15 all-time quarterback.
Oh, no doubt about it.
But a lot of people have got him in the top 5 all-time.
No, he's not in my top 5.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't take him over Brett Favre. No way. Because Brett Favre would go out there and murder himself to try to win the game on behalf of his teams.
Yeah, and I think people forget how great Brett Favre was back in the 90s. He was really, really good. People remember the interceptions, but it seems like ever since John Madden retired, because, John Madden loved Brett Favre.
Yeah, the people have forgot, and they don't remember how historically great that season with the Vikings was. It was all time epically great. He was threw good. That ball around that season. I think he had 43 touchdowns or something.
No, I think he was just 33-8, which is really, really good.
He was still great at 41 years old,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's Aaron's personality has hurt him, in my opinion, historically.
Yeah. He doesn't even get along with his own family. So
let me ask you a question. This is an interesting question. Super Bowls aside, who would you rather have coaching your or quarterbacking your team right now? Phillip Rivers or Aaron Rodgers?
Oh man. You know what? 3 years ago, this wouldn't even been a question. Now
you've got to think about it.
I got to question it. I mean, I really like Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers is underrated. He is light years better than Eli Manning. Light years.
And people say there's a question. I'll put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame right now.
Oh, I would too. I would put him over Eli Manning. Eli Manning.
Oh, not even.
Eli Manning.
Think about that. Yeah.
Eli Manning would not be in the Hall of Fame to me because I don't think he was great. He had great moments, and that's it.
If Eli played in the 80s, I'd put him in. But to have played in a quarterback friendly league the last 7 or 8 years, his statistics are not
No.
up to par for a Hall of Fame quarterback.
His
He had the most remarkable 9 games of anybody's career in
9?
2 different spread over 2 seasons.
Well,
Two playoff
yeah.
runs.
That's it. And he's
and
missed the
that is
playoffs.
it.
He's missed the playoffs like what 8 of the last 9 years or something like that. I mean, that's insane.
If you pull those 2 playoff runs out, statistically speaking, Alex Smith is a better quarterback than Eli Manning.
Eli Manning in this era of passing, he came in the league in 2004, has a career 83 quarterback rating. Troy Aikman, who played in a different era, has an 82 quarterback rating, which was really good back then.
Mm-hmm.
That 84 is not good now. Eli Manning is a 59% career completion percentage.
That's really not good.
That's really not good.
Yeah.
That's really not good. And he's an interception machine. If he plays to, I don't even think he's going to make it to 40 because I think he's going to lose the start job this year. I really do. He may make it to about 4 or 5 games in, and they're going to pull him.
He could. I'm going to tell you, I was watching that game live the other day. Daniel Jones made a touchdown throw and fit it into a window. And I was like,
I saw that.
Eli Manning can't make that throw anymore. No way. Not a chance. And in fact, it was such a good throw. I was like, there's arguably 6 to 8 quarterbacks in the league right now that couldn't make that throw. I was floored. I was like, oh my God, that guy's the real deal. Yeah, you don't make throws like that and can't play quarterback.
Yeah, but
Daniel I'm not going to Jones is legit, dude.
I'm not going to look too much into that one play in the preseason. I need to see stuff in the regular season, which I think he's going to get his opportunity this year, probably by week 5.
I think I before we came on, we talked about, or maybe after, I don't know. We talked about Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
And the eye test right off the bat, Daniel Jones can play quarterback.
Yeah.
He was what, 6 for 6 or something. I mean, he was just going. It immediately looked. You remember when Dak came in, and things just looked different all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Dak was completing passes and everything was moving down the field, and the offense was flowing a little better. That's the way Daniel Jones looked the other day. He came in, and all of a sudden, the Giants was running an offense out there. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, man. Would you put Eli Manning in your top 25 quarterbacks of all time? I wouldn't.
No.
I looked at a list, and I was like, there's no way he's getting. I mean, just off the top of my head, forget about the top 5 quarterbacks that I actually think are better than Eli Manning all time. Warren Moon, better than Eli Manning. Warren Moon was great, man.
It's not. Warren Moon would make my top 10 if you want to know the truth.
I wouldn't have him in a top 10. He'd probably be.
Look at his statistics.
I know. Like 10 to 15, I would probably somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because my top 5 easily is I got Tom Brady at number 1, Joe Montana at number 2, John Elway at number 3, Roger Staubach number 4, and Peyton Manning at number 5. That's my top 5. And so Eli Manning is not going to be anywhere near that. But
I'm gonna throw some shade at you on that. Roger Staubach,
Captain America, man. That guy was elite, man. Elite.
Who do you believe? Is that who you believe is the greatest Dallas Cowboy quarterback?
It's close between him and Aikman, but
I'm going to shock you. I think Tony Romo's better than both of those dudes.
Ooh.
And it's not that close. I don't think it's close. You go back and look at Tony's stats, he blows them out of the water.
But the thing is, though, you can't compare the stats. Tony Romo played in a passing era. The rules was so much different.
Part of the passing era.
Do you know that defenses
Jerry Jones,
manhandle people?
I'm going to say this. Jerry Jones failed Tony Romo.
Oh yeah, I know
Romo
that.
should have
No
won a
doubt.
Super Bowl.
He definitely should. He did fail him.
All these years,
He
and
had,
I'm gonna
he
say
had
this.
no defense. He had no defense, no offensive line for the most part of his career.
I'm gonna say this from the perspective of a fan that's not a Cowboys fan. For years, we sat back and watched Cowboy fans bitch and piss and moan about Tony Romo when there was 15 teams that would have taken Tony immediately.
No, that was more than that.
Probably.
I mean,
Probably.
Tony Romo, for the most part, was pretty close to being a top 5 quarterback.
There were things Tony Romo did on the field that dropped my jaw. I was like, this guy is it. He took a ton of hate. I love Tony Romo.
Yeah, he got crushed because he was a Dallas Cowboys quarterback, but Jerry Jones did give him the tools and the help that he needed to win.
That defense was trash for 5 straight years.
Tell me about it. I know. The offensive line was garbage. That offensive line got good, I think, like the year or two before he got hurt. Yeah. And then Dak came.
1 year, I think. Yeah.
I mean, if you put prime Tony Romo on this Dallas Cowboys team,
ooh,
man.
They'd probably be my Super Bowl pick. If you want to know
they probably would. And I like Dak. Yeah. I like Dak. But Dak isn't an upper tier quarterback. But I like Dak. You can win a Super Bowl with Dak.
I'm going to tell you what's funny. When Dak came in, because before we got around to the NFL draft, I'm a big draft guy, and my wife was like, you think the Niners are going to take a quarterback? And I said, listen, there's a kid named Dak Prescott that just won the MVP in the Senior Bowl. And I said, he can run a pro-style offense like it's going out of style. No problem. I said, Debbie, he can play NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
I said, I'm hoping the Niners are going to take him in the draft.
Yeah.
And
Dak is like, right.
We didn't. Yeah. And get this. The GM of the Niners at the time wanted to take him. No. Excuse me. Chip Kelly wanted to take him. And Trent Baalke said no. And we passed on Dak.
Yeah.
That came out after the draft. Chip Kelly was like, I tried to draft Dak, and Trent Baalke said no. And then they fired both of them.
We were talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott seems to be a better leader than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't question that at all.
He didn't have the skill set, not even close.
Mm-mm.
But
no,
the reason I like Dak as my quarterback because I know he's going to work hard and he has the leadership skills. He has those intangibles that you like in a quarterback besides just raw talent.
Do you know who Dak is?
Who is?
He's Alex Smith. He's Alex Smith. Alex Smith has turned himself into a quality professional quarterback.
Yeah, and he was on some trash teams at first too.
Here's the reason people perceived Alex as a bust. As a Niners fan, I can tell you, he had 7 different offensive coordinators in his first 7 years.
Yeah, he did. That's tough on any quarterback.
And Harbaugh came in, and it was like, boom, I got you. You're fine. And as much as I love Jim Harbaugh, I will never forgive him for pulling Alex for Kaepernick. And I liked Cap, but I was like, no, man, he's finally playing quality, high quality. He had just knocked the Saints out of the playoffs on 2 of the best damn throws I've ever seen in my life. And then Harbaugh took his job away from him.
Yep.
I was like, ridiculous. We saw how that went.
Yep.
So, well, I'd say this has been pretty good first little stream, huh?
Yeah. This is really, really good. I mean, eventually guys will actually go live and interact with everybody.
Yeah. We need to build a little bit more of a following before we get around to that, where maybe 5 people will show up. But I think NFL is one of those things where new viewers might check in as you have a live stream going, just because it's so searched for right now. You
Right.
know. So anyway, this will go up on podcast at podbean.com. So later, probably tomorrow, I would guess. So that was our top 5 NFL quarterbacks. And John Matrix, any final words?
Our top 5 MVP candidates.
What did I say?
You said top 5 quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was mostly quarterbacks.
Yeah, it was mostly quarterbacks.
Top 5 MVP candidates.
Yeah.
That top 5 quarterback thing has been on my mind as a video like for 2 weeks now, and I haven't gotten around to do it. So
yeah.
Anyway,
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
That's a completely different thing from top 5 MVP candidates. So
yeah. All right. Well, we're out. Have a good day.
peace.